Ruselli Northern supports upstate New York construction with over 400 employees, 250 trucks, 9 ready-mix plants, 4 blacktop plants, and 40 aggregate mines. But their most important number is your bottom line. Contact them today to see why Ruselli Northern has been the choice for contractors and project managers across upstate New York since 1929.
All right, everybody, welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. Paul Russo, Nick Felice here with you as always. It's a pretty busy episode today. NFL, college football, we got hockey starting, postseasons are here for the MLB. We have a lot to get to in a few short moments, Nick.
Yeah, 11 years ago yesterday was my favorite Pirates game of all time. 2013 NL Wild Card game.
I did not know that's where we were going with that.
Yep, just wanted to let you know that. That was 11 years ago. And 11 years later, we're doing a scapegoat route.
Well, I was, 11 years ago, would have been a sophomore at Gannon. So, yeah, fun times. I was in Pirate territory.
Larry Allen pitched a great game that night.
Cueto.
Yes.
Let's begin obviously with the NFL. Now through week 4, there wasn't a ton of individual game headlines this week. I'd say there's a lot more overarching stuff this week in the NFL more than anything else. Through 4 weeks, I think chaos would be probably the right term. A lot of stuff that I don't think anybody really thought was going to happen is kind of happening. Case in point, the Commanders, for example. Just I don't know what to even do at this point as a fan of the team. It's kind of crazy. The proverbial, to be fair, they were the Vegas favorites to win the AFC East, and the Jets look pretty rough, to put it bluntly. And oh, by the way, of the now... Is it 2? No, we have one undefeated team.
And no winless.
In the Kansas City Chiefs. And, oh, by the way, they haven't looked great either by any stretch. So
2 undefeated. Minnesota.
Oh, that's right. Minnesota did get undefeated. Forgot about that. Chiefs undefeated don't look good. Minnesota, though, undefeated looks pretty damn good.
Sam Darnold looks a lot better than Mahomes.
Right, which I don't think anybody had on their bingo card for the NFL season this year. So,
no, give Sam Darnold some credit.
I'm a believer. I got stock in him.
He's been through a lot. It's crazy that he's even starting football games in 2024 after how his career started, kind of like Geno Smith with the Seattle. Geno Smith's been on a weird career, but good for him. They unfortunately lost their first game. Lions finally looked like they started really clicking in this last game. Defensively, still not the greatest, but, I wasn't able to watch a lot of football on Sunday. I was working pretty busily. So, but I did see some of the scores and some of the highlights, and the Jets don't look too good. The Bills kind of came back a little bit. Little concerning. It's just a game. It's just one loss, but the Bills haven't really beaten anyone. College football-wise, resume not the greatest, because you haven't really beat up anybody. You lose your first big game. But they're 3-1. They're right there. There's no way the Dolphins are going to catch them now.
Wow. More than likely.
Yeah. And the way the Jets have looked, and the Patriots have kind of stepped back a little bit these last couple weeks. Yeah. Division's there still, but a little concerning. But, it's just a regular season game. It's just one game. Ravens, they're better, I think, than their record shows it too.
It went against one of my working theories, though. But yes, you are right.
It's a big game, but it's not the big game. When we talk Ravens,
they were the Sunday night football game.
I know.
You wait all day for Sunday night.
But Ravens, we know the Ravens. It's not going to matter to the playoffs what they do, in my opinion. It's like it's become that point with the Ravens. They could do whatever they want in the regular season. It comes when the playoff time.
So they lose first weekend again?
Yeah, your theory still continues.
Thank you.
So what, they won this one. Good for them.
All right. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, sure. Okay. I'll allow that.
Come on, Jaden Daniels. He's the MVP.
Let's pump the brakes. Dan Quinn, pump the brakes. I still don't necessarily buy into maybe MVP.
When's the last time they both been 3-1? Syracuse and Washington.
At the same time, I don't know, maybe like 87 or something like that.
87. It is 2024.
I have no
Enjoy this.
I mean, I am. I'm just saying, like, you have to curb the enthusiasm here still slightly.
Man, they haven't punted in 3 weeks.
That being said, well, we did. Trustway got one punt.
Oh, he did.
That being said, who are you looking up to? Who are you looking up to?
I'm
Not
happy
Philly,
for you.
Not Dallas.
Definitely not Philly.
Washington.
Are they all two? Well, Giants are 1-3, and the other two are 2-2.
Yeah, Phillies.
Mess.
I don't know, man.
I
don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we did talk about it last
Sirianni,
week.
first coach getting fired. I still think it. I still think it's gonna be Doug.
It's got to be
Peterson.
him. I
think it could be Doug Peterson.
I think it depends who gets. You got two ownership groups that enjoy kind of.
Robert Saleh could be in that mix.
Saleh's got to be in there.
We're talking about first. Who's first to get fired?
Well, there's a couple others I could potentially see, but who might be on the hot seat, not necessarily getting fired at least. I mean, McCarthy. I don't know if Dallas would actually do it, but like,
it's not his fault. Do you think
No.
Stefanski could get fired?
yeah, but again, that's more just like Haslam being Haslam than anything else. I mean, it's not on him. To a degree, it's not on him.
Not at all.
I'm just saying though, as a head coach, you got to figure out to game plan around your weaknesses. Yeah. You know, I don't know if that means you just say shelve the guy you have a bunch of guaranteed money to play Jameis Winston, but you know, I don't know. I mean, he's got to be up there. You're all right. It's probably Peterson. I really think it might. Sirianni should be.
Here's the question no one ever asked. Who's the safest coach in the NFL? And I think that's Kevin McConnell. Man, he's done an unbelievable job.
Well, I was going to say, it's got to be either like McConnell or like Raheem Morris or like Dan Quinn.
I guess like Andy Reid ain't getting fired till he retires.
Right.
That McConnell, though, he's done
for whatever reason, Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. But, yeah. No, you got to give – I think he's the best head coach in the game right now, McConnell. For what he does with that team.
Yeah.
That defense. Whew.
I mean, it's got to be either him, Reid, more or less out of whatever. I mean, I'm telling you what, man. Todd Bowles in Tampa's got to be up there, too. Got to be up there.
Didn't really work with the Jets, but yeah.
But look how it's going in Tampa Bay, though. The land of what everybody else would be misfit toys.
Yeah.
At this point. Like, I don't know. It's crazy to me that, not to get too far ahead here, it's crazy to me that they're underdogs this week in Atlanta. But
wow. I didn't know that.
We'll get to that, obviously, in a couple minutes. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like we're getting a couple guys back this week, or at least trending to being back off the injured list. I know Tank Dell seems like he's going to be good to go this week. Sounds like we might see Nick Chubb to some degree. It doesn't sound like it's going to be a full-fledged effort.
He's going to play?
But he's officially off the IR. So it will be interesting there to kind of see what happens. I'm excited to see what it's like, but I'm very hesitant to get my hopes up just knowing how that injury is and how we've seen people in the past just come back and not be remotely anything what they were. So,
But Derrick Henry, man, he's still
Dog.
going.
yeah.
He is. I don't know if anyone's going to be Adrian Peterson, to play that long and be that
Yeah,
decent.
well,
Because Adrian Peterson played a long time.
I think the right comp there is not Peterson. Maybe size-wise, sure. But, like, Peterson slowed down pretty quick. Like, I remember when he was in Washington for the season and a half, and don't get me wrong, it was great, and he kind of buoyed a situation that needed to be figured out. But, like, he was nowhere near what he was in Minnesota. Like, Henry's still what he is when he was in Tennessee.
And that was a great team for him to go to.
To me, he's closer to probably being like LaDainian Tomlinson than anything else. Where it was just like he went to the Jets and like maybe he lost a step, but like it's not like he was completely off like the path of what he was.
Yeah, he was great. LT.
Yeah.
Not the LT, but
Now,
but Derrick Henry, I've always been a fan, and that's a great team for him, Ravens, with Lamar Jackson, the threat of running there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you a fan of the Monday night doubleheaders?
no.
Well, we got.
Well, yeah. When they're staggered, where it's like one's at 7:30 and one's at 10, like on the West Coast, yeah, like that's cool at that point. Like the 45 minutes off of each other's not like. Although this week it didn't really matter. I mean,
Everyone was tuning off.
Tennessee Miami was an awful game, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I like seeing high scoring, but like the main thing going into this the Seahawks Lions game was like, oh, we have two really good defense facing off against each other, and what happens? It's just like literally some of the worst defense I've seen in like a while. So I don't know. Good. Luckily, we're off of 2 Monday night games for
I think it's week 7.
3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah, so
3 weeks.
2 weeks. No, wait, 2 weeks. Because it's week 5.
It is.
Now we have 4 teams on the bye this week, Nick.
Already a month in.
Yep, we have Detroit, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and the Chargers all on a bye this week.
Aren't there buys in like week 14, something like that?
Yeah.
It's such a big difference.
So we go from our first week from having 16 games to be picked to 14 for this week.
What's the records?
So I went 9-7 last week. Was able to get my overall record to 500 to 32-32.
Nice.
Nick, you had the best week so far.
Really?
11-5.
Nice.
So you're up to 35-29, a 3-game advantage out front.
All right. So realistically, I could just pick the same thing for you for the rest of the season, and this could be boring.
Could be. Until you get the playoff. You would
That's not how the wise work.
You would just have 3 points in the bank for playoff, then 3 games in the bank for the playoff, and that's it. So.
But then there's also, why every week. So
Exactly.
it's
So.
not physically possible.
So let's get into the games of the week for picking here in the NFL. First, Thursday Night Football, Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta is a 1.5 favorite.
I don't like that.
Neither do I.
Tampa Bay.
I don't understand how Tampa Bay is an underdog here.
I don't understand how it's been 5 weeks and we got 3 Atlanta primetime games already.
It's true. All right. Sunday morning for us here in America. We have a football game across the pond, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium,
Really?
whatever it's called, Hotspur Stadium. The Jets at the Vikings. Vikings are 2.5-point favorites. This is a 9:30 kickoff, I believe, on the East Coast.
So I can't pick Jaguars here?
Starting next week, you can.
So used to Jaguars winning this game. But I'm going to go with the Jets. That's not a normal pick for me. But
It's not.
I think the Jets are going to figure it out this week.
I'm going Minnesota. The Jets give you something to trust them to pick them?
I just feel like Aaron Rodgers was pretty pissed about what happened last week. I think they're going to come to play.
I don't know what he'd be pissed off about. They were passing in the rain. In the rain.
I just think
They were catering the game plan to him.
I see the Jets winning.
All right. I'm just saying, I just don't know where I see anything to give me hope in them to pick them in that game.
Sam Darnold revenge game?
That's true. See? You're screwed. I'm not. All right, let's get to the 1 o'clock window games. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 2.5-point underdog at home. I'm going Baltimore here.
Wow, this is a weird start. I'm going Cincinnati, which
Really?
Baltimore isn't unlike your pick.
Yeah, but like, again, Cincinnati giving you hope here against Baltimore.
At home, I like him at home.
All right, it's fair. This one I feel like is going to be an interesting one here. This one might be the Y game, potentially.
Let me hear it.
Carolina at Chicago. Chicago is a 3.5-point favorite at home.
Oh, let me hear what you got to say.
Well, you're up first because you always do the Y when I pick second.
Oh, okay,
So.
okay. Well, I'm going to pick Chicago
Okay,
just because I think they're the better team.
sure. I'm going Carolina.
Why, Paul?
Andy Dalton revenge game number 1.
Wow.
No, they just look like a completely different team, and I'm not saying it's like not dysfunctional, but like Bears through the first 4 weeks, and you got the fans already in a tizzy. You got apparently the players pissed off at the front office. I don't know what's going on there. Sounds like typical Bears nonsense going on, which kind of sounds crazy given the fact I'm taking the friggin' Panthers over them. But I don't know. Andy Dalton under center there has at least given the offense a boost in a way that if you were to tell us after week 1, I don't think we would have believed. So
Here's why I'm taking the Bears.
sure.
They already beat them out with that stupid trade.
Ooh.
They're going to do it again. It's not a Bryce Young revenge game because he never played there. Should have played there.
So it's a DJ Moore revenge game.
Yes. And I'm Ryan Poles. Come on.
Canandaigua. I met his dad at a
Really?
golf tournament. Yeah, nice guy. Shout out to Mr. Poles.
Nice.
All right, Miami at New England. New England is a 1.5 favorite.
Well,
This was the worst game I went through for myself. By the way,
this could be like 6-0.
yeah.
And it's going to be the Patriots with the 6.
So we continue picking the opposite here. I'm going Miami.
Oh, my God. With Tyler Huntley.
Snoop, give me my guy.
Oh, man, that's bad. Did you not see them get beat by the worst team in football and the Titans?
Well,
At home.
I don't know if they're the worst team in football. In my personal opinion.
Who's the worst?
We're 2 games away from getting to them.
I think Miami with this team, with this quarterback they got, it doesn't matter if it's Skylar Thompson or Huntley, they could be the worst.
I don't know. I know Andrews is probably out for the Patriots on the O-line. That's already a very bad offensive line, so I don't know. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if that is like a 6-0 game or like a 9-3, 9-6 type thing. So, hey, Buffalo at Houston. Houston a 1.5 underdog at home. This game started as Buffalo's being the underdog on Monday, by the way.
At Houston?
At Houston.
I like Houston.
I'm going Buffalo.
Wow.
So you think it's going to be the Diggs revenge game? I think it's going to be the Bills shoving it to Diggs.
That's true. I didn't even think about that, but no, I think the Bills need to prove something this week.
It's the battle for the Mario Williams trophy.
Yeah, it is. I just think at home. Thinking Houston.
Okay. Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville 2.5-point favorites.
So you think Jacksonville's the worst?
Yeah. Right now.
Well, that's nothing new. They've been the worst my whole life, besides those couple of years there when they had Fournette and Bortles and that defense.
The model.
But is Anthony Richardson playing?
So I had to weigh this into my pick. And it sounds crazy because Joe Flacco did look good.
See, now, like I said, I didn't watch on Sunday. All of a sudden, I look at my fantasy.
Yeah.
And Pittman did something.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And then I realized Richardson's not out there.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
I went Jacksonville here just because of the uncertainty of how are the Colts going to game plan this. So.
I'm actually going to go Indy.
Wow.
Unless they have no brain, they would put Flacco out there. And just Jacksonville's just terrible. I can't pick them right now.
Ooh. I have some breaking NFL news.
Really?
They aren't opening the window on him, but Hawkinson is practicing this Friday.
Wow.
So, Noted for the Viking fans out there.
Let me go back and make my pick.
He's not going to play Sunday. Okay, so the last of the 1 o'clock window, the Browns at the Commanders. The Commanders are 3-point favorites at home.
You and your friend Nick going to watch this?
Considering it's in Washington and we'll both be in Erie, no.
That's right. That sucks. Could have been perfect timing.
If it was in
You ever been to Washington?
If it was in Cleveland, probably. Yeah, one actually in Buffalo a few years ago.
Oh, Matt took you, right?
Sweet. That's the only way I would have gone.
That's right. Bills win that game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on.
Come on, I'm taking the Commanders here. Come on.
You know how I feel about my team and picking them. But for the first time this year, we're taking the Mandos, baby.
Yeah, I think they got it. 4-1.
All right, 4 games in the late window, 4 o'clock window. Arizona at the 49ers. 49ers are a touchdown and a half favorite.
So Arizona looked good against the Rams. But
Since then.
not much. Niners, who's playing?
Kittle is still projected to be at least playing.
Debo's still out.
I don't know. They got Jordan Mason.
I'll take the Niners anyway.
Yeah, same. All right, Vegas at Denver. Denver 2.5-point favorites at home.
Devontae Adams, Vegas.
I think it'll still be in Vegas for this game. I think.
Well, this is another terrible game. It's at Denver.
It's at Denver.
I'll take Denver at home.
I took Denver as well here. That defense is good. Like, that defense is actually legit.
It is.
The offense, I don't know, but
That offense,
it's legit something.
I'd love to see Miami's offense and Denver go at it.
Nice battle of terrible. Green Bay at the Rams. Rams are 3-point underdogs.
Rams are bad.
Yeah.
Taking Green Bay.
I don't know if the Rams are bad, but until they get some of these guys back, you can't.
Atwell's not going to lead them.
He's not bad, but he's a 3, right? Yeah. I mean, he can't be a 1.
No.
So, but yeah, I mean, until at least Cup or Puka take your pick of the 2, and it sounds like Cup is for sure going to be the first one back,
Puka's not too much far behind.
No, but I think it was just one of those things, I don't know. Parkinson looks like he's a good tight end, though. I can tell you that much. So, all right, last of the 4 o'clock window. It's the battle for 6 Carroll Ave. Felice household battle.
That's right.
Giants at the Seahawks. Seahawks, 6.5-point favorites.
At the Seahawks.
At the Seahawks.
I think it's Seattle.
Oh, same. Nick, I'm sorry.
Hey, Neighbors looks good, though.
It's true. So much so that you offered one of the worst deals in fantasy history to me for him.
It wasn't that bad.
It was bad.
My first round draft pick.
Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Dallas at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. Steelers are 1.5 favorites here.
Dallas at Steelers. Battle of America's teams.
That's one way to put it. 2 Americas.
I'll take Pittsburgh, I guess.
Wow.
At Pittsburgh?
Yep.
Yeah. You don't come into our city.
I did Dallas. I'm picking Dallas.
Good for you.
No.
That cancels your Carolina pick. Jesus. And your Miami one. You need another one to cancel the Miami one.
I'm surprised it's not. It's got to be because Pittsburgh's home, right? That it's not a pick at thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not the greatest game in the world.
No. But Monday Night Football probably won't exactly be either. The Saints at Kansas City. Kansas City, 5.5-point favorites.
Kansas City.
Same. I mean, better team on paper. I know they're minus Rice now, and
Kansas City, not the greatest 4-0 team in the world, though.
no. All right, let's get to some college football talk here. We probably had the game of the year, if not the early candidate for game of the year, Georgia, Alabama.
Miami was pretty good, though.
That game was. We'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah, Georgia,
I
Alabama.
mean, that was some damn good college ball. And that's one of the reasons why I love college football more than I like the NFL is think about the ambiance, let alone the game, but when everything's going on, just nuts, right? And I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to hear your opinion on this one. Do you think Nick Saban would have won that game if he was still coaching Alabama?
Yeah.
I think Kalen DeBoer stamped his seal of I'm the right. You all made the right pick with that game. It's an interesting one. I always say that because when Saban, I don't think you see Alabama go up 28-0 with Saban.
Yeah.
Initially, you know what I mean. And that clearly proved to be a very pivotal thing for the Crimson Tide in that game.
Yeah. That was a great game. I did watch it. Did have time to watch that. And Georgia always seems to lose to Alabama, though. A lot of the time. They lost to them in last year's SEC championship game. They lose to them now. They beat them in the NCAA national championship that one year. But
True.
I just think Alabama's just a better team right now. I mean, the Georgia quarterback gets a lot of love. I think the Alabama quarterback is a lot better, and I think it showed out. But those are two of the better teams in the country. That's the thing about the SEC. You got all these teams joining them now, Oklahoma and Texas. You got to play each other.
It just means more.
And it's just these teams are going to lose games. They all can't be undefeated. And Georgia's going to have this loss, even though they are, we'll use my team as an example, Notre Dame. Even though they're probably better on paper, but if they keep losing games, Notre Dame is eventually going to jump them in the rankings. That's just how it works. They got such a deep conference. Sure, they'll get 3 in the tournament, maybe 4. Depends how crazy it gets. But maybe I think Nick Saban still would have won that game. But
Yeah, I think so too, but it's an interesting, especially the way that we know he was coaching down the stretch. I don't know, like that's the reason why I say I don't know if he gets up 28-0. I think Bama still wins, but like I think we're talking it's like a 24-20 game, not a what was it, 41 to or 42-36 game at the end.
I didn't see is Alabama 1?
Yeah, they jumped Texas, yeah.
So they're 1, Texas is 2.
Mm-hmm.
Who's 3?
Great question. I didn't fully go looking at that in that regard. Yeah, Miami, Virginia Tech. This will be our point here before we get to our picks.
Thought it was gonna be one of those weeks where this is the week Miami loses.
Well,
Showed
it was in line to be that title thing, as we've seen with Miami of recent year. So the play itself, and I'll preface it with this: Virginia Tech outplayed them for pretty much the first 3 quarters of that game. Miami really outplayed them in the fourth, though. Yeah. So I thought it was incomplete. And when I was watching it live, I'm like, incomplete.
Yeah.
And the main reason I kind of thought that was you see the first couple replays, and I know this is jumping ahead a little bit here to what we're talking about, but when the bodies are on the ground, you see the ball loose, and then there's control of it in some sort of pit, as I called it, right? And then it switches over to the other angle at the tail end of the play, and the ball's clearly out. I'm like, okay, I think it's out. I think it's incomplete. That being said, like I said, you can clearly tell somebody had it at some point. Somebody within there had it. And based on the glove color, I thought it actually was a Virginia Tech guy who maybe had it. Yeah. But based on everything I saw, I'm like, that's incomplete. So I was caught off guard when they ruled it a touchdown. Yeah. I really was. Now, that being said, that is the right way to call it. Because if you call it incomplete, it's going to be it's a quicker confirmation than it is anything else. Or in other words, it's going to be easier to just stand on what you called and not look for anything really else. Touchdown is the right way. That's why we let plays go out and we let them run in both college and the NFL when stuff like that happens. That being said, I didn't think there was enough evidence to overturn it one way or another. And that's my thing, is I don't know if there was enough evidence to go one way or another on it. So the fact that they overturned it and they took as long as they did, I'm like, yeesh, this is And that's where I think, I'm not saying these people are right. In fact, I think they're wrong. But that's why you do have people thinking to themselves like the ACC's, after knowing what happened last year, is going to play shenanigans on calls like that with Miami, who appears to be at least at the leader in the stable at this point for the ACC for the playoff this year. It took away from us. It was a really great game. Virginia Tech, I don't think they're as good as we thought they were preseason. That being said, all three of their losses this year are within a touchdown.
Wow.
And
people had them as a sneaky team this year.
Right, correct. I thought they were going to be as well. Now, that being said, I don't think they're maybe as good as we thought they were, just based on some of the other stuff I've seen with them in the first 5 games for them. But, for them, it's brutal. This is a definite wind out of your sail. Now you're talking, you still have that outside chance, right, of the playoff with 2 losses. But this was going to be that kind of feather in your cap type win. Now you're banking on, the Pop-Tart Bowl, which was the formerly Gator Bowl, or Citrus Bowl, Gator Bowl, Duke's Mayo Bowl, now you're kind of aiming for some of these mid-tier bowls, hopefully, and you're kind of hoping.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks in their case, but if you're Miami now, you at least, okay, we survived the week, just kind of move on and get past this, and a win's a win at the end of the day.
Has anyone asked the Seahawks-Packer replacement refs what they think?
Everybody went. It was funny seeing the amount of people that went there.
Yeah.
Because I think date-wise, it lined up literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 12 years to the date.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mike Pereira, what do you think? What's the ruling? Crazy. But it sounds like they made the right call, though.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point of it, replay and all that stuff. So, yeah, if you're Miami, survive and move on. That's the whole point of this game, and especially in college football. Yeah, you can lose some games now and still make the playoffs, but you don't want to lose that game.
No.
So good for them. Still the top of the ACC right now. Watch out for the Orange, but Orange finally going on the road this week.
UNLV
in Vegas.
Friday
no
night.
Quarterback. What do they do with no quarterback?
That backup quarterback is probably better than him. So.
Oh, so they have a.
They do.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief.
How'd my picks do?
Well, you went 4-1. And you pick head-to-head for those who don't know. And for those who don't know, I go against the spread on my picks, and I also went 4-1 last year.
Nice. You finally get that record.
The only loss for us was both Georgia.
Oh, sure.
So.
Damn.
All right, first game this week. Number 9, Missouri at number 25, Texas A&M. A&M is 2.5-point favorite at home.
A&M's favored
At home, yep.
against Missouri. I know Missouri skate by some games, but I'm going to take Missouri in this game.
I went Mizzou as well, especially for me because I'm going against the spread. I'm going to take the points there. But, yeah, I think they're the better team anyway. I'm kind of surprised. But either way, we have our first game this year, a battle of the military branches. Navy at Air Force. Air Force 9.5-point underdogs at home. They are pretty bad. They got upset by Wyoming.
Yeah.
Navy, on the other hand, should be ranked. Rank Army and Navy, you cowards.
Yeah, so this kind of reminds me of like you, me, and Matt. We're like the big 3 in fantasy owners.
Sure, yeah.
And this is like you and Matt are the 1 and 2. This is like you versus me here. So
So you're Air Force.
I'm Air Force, and you're Navy, of
Okay.
course. Even though Army's kind of had the best in Navy lately. So
It's true.
I'm going to go with Air Force.
Really?
I'm going to go with myself. Got to bet on myself, right?
Yeah, I'm going Navy.
What's the spread?
9.5.
Yeah, taking Air Force.
Okay.
You can't get us in the planes when you're on those boats. Isn't that how
You understand the Navy does have an aerial fleet?
No. Thank you.
Ole Miss.
Still in the air, though.
Number 12, Ole Miss is at South Carolina. South Carolina, 9.5-point underdogs at home.
Ole Miss at South Carolina?
Oh, I'm going Ole Miss here. I think they bounce back after losing to Kentucky.
Spencer Rattler still the quarterback?
No.
I'm going to take Ole Miss as well.
Okay. No, Lenore Sellers is the quarterback at South Carolina, former Syracuse commit.
Really?
Appalachian State at Marshall. Marshall 3.5-point favorites. Big Sun Belt battle here early in the season.
I'll take Appalachian State.
Okay. I'm on Marshall. It's been a beyond tough week here for Appalachian State with everything going on. But I'm going to go Marshall here.
Nice.
Although I think it would be really big if App State got the win and boost some morale in Western Carolina. All right, last game, James Madison at Louisiana Monroe, another pretty big Sun Belt matchup early in the season here. Madison 4-0, Louisiana Monroe is 3-1, but James Madison is 16.5-point favorites on the road.
Not so fast. I know you're going to pick James. I want James Madison.
I'm going JMU as well, so I don't know why you did not so fast, my friend, on that one.
I just wanted to say it.
Fair enough. All right, before we get out of here, let's talk hockey. Puck drops tomorrow.
Friday.
Whatever. In Europe.
And Sabres.
Yep. I think it's a bit of a crossroads season in a way. It's kind of I think you're going to really see the foothold of McDavid and some of these more younger superstars finally really take more of a foot and more of the center stage from Crosby, from Ovechkin. We finally saw cracks, I think. We finally saw age catch up them really last year. Could make the case for Ovi, it's been a couple of years, but really with Crosby for sure last year. It's pretty interesting. I think it's a little bit of a wide open deal, but, I really like the position your Rangers are in. I liked them a little bit last year. I think now that we got another year under the belt of those young guys.
They're running it back.
I mean, I like that, I think you're going to probably see the Oilers. I would like to imagine the Oilers are able to kind of run it back in a sense as well, in that sense. I think the Avs, fully healthy, are going to be tough. We know Vegas is always at least going to claw at you out west, right? The Kraken, what's going to be the deal with them? We figured they would maintain last year, and they really didn't. So what's going to happen there? Do the Canucks still kind of hold? It's going to be interesting, right? The Stars should be good as well. Do the Kings kind of maintain what they kind of built last year? It's going to be interesting.
Do the Sabres make the playoffs?
Well, now it brings me back out east where it's kind of, I feel like, wide open as well, right? But I feel more confident in picking out like one or two singular teams, right? Like the Panthers, like the Rangers, like the Hurricanes, right? I think Tampa Bay could probably fight a little bit this year. Don't know about how great it's going to be, right?
Stamkos is gone.
Does Toronto actually ever figure it out, right? I forgot to mention Nashville, right? Nashville's clearly going all in, just on a really 2-year window. Does Toronto actually get it figured out? Do the Senators actually look like they're are gonna take that next step, right?
Toronto's another one where it just matters when the playoffs
right?
are.
Boston has a situation brewing with Swayman. What's going to be the deal with them? Because if they lose him, with this contract dispute stuff, that takes away pretty much in my mind what their backbone is now. It's going to be a pretty interesting year of hockey, I would imagine, of the NHL.
Yeah, I mean Edmonton, 1 game away from winning the Stanley Cup. It's just it's hard to even say you're ever going to get back. Especially in the NHL where the Stanley Cup playoffs is the hardest playoffs of all sports. So it's just you can't guarantee your spot back, and they were so close. They had to win it then. And the Panthers came through after falling short the year before. So the Panthers, I expect a setback this year for the Panthers. I know they're still very talented, but it's hard to repeat in this sport too. Tampa Bay did it, with a COVID year in there, but they still did it. But the Penguins actually did it. But Sidney Crosby took a pay cut, so that was nice.
Yeah.
Are the Penguins going to get back this year? Maybe still with the they're hoping the fountain of youth can help them out a little bit, but you know it's always it's not as bad as MLB. I guess it is kind of. It's kind of a tease.
Pick your spot.
Let me finish my sentence. It's like a tease with the whole, game Friday or whatever. I think there's a game Saturday. It's kind of like when I think they're doing it again next year, but in Japan. Is it Japan next year?
I believe so.
Baseball. It's kind of like a tease, but
yeah.
So it really gets going on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, but yeah, once hockey starts, then you're like, oh my God, basketball's going to start. And then it's just the madness of winter sports are here. And, but yeah, people don't talk about this much. They always say how long baseball is and like basketball. Hockey is the longest season of them all. Well, not NASCAR. NASCAR's pretty long. But for the Big Four, it is the longest. They start here in early October, and they go all the way into June, sometimes later in the NBA Finals. So, I don't know about the Rangers. They're another one. Playoffs. Yeah, they can do whatever they want in the regular season. It comes down to the playoffs. Can their stars show up? They don't disappear in the playoffs like they always do. And they did good against Washington, I guess. Washington was an incredible run last year to make the playoffs. We'll see. They can build on that, or was that just getting hot at the right time type deal?
Yeah, we'll see. It's the beauty of it. MLB postseason started as well here in the past day. Where I got one game going on right now for today in Game 2 with Detroit at Houston.
Score
0-0. Middle of
0-0.
2. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. We actually did have to get to that doubleheader. On Monday for the Braves and the Mets, and it did make a difference, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's tough for you. I don't want to reveal too much from the group chat, but we know where you stand on the playoffs, Nick. But you did make it known to me that you did you did give yourself a little bit of a snippet yesterday watching. So
yes, I will watch until the Brewers are out, which will be today.
Even though you're sick of the Mets.
Yeah, I am sick of the Mets too.
The duality of Nick.
The Mets goes all the way back to 2015, and I've said this plenty of times on here. 98 wins, second best team in baseball, can't even win your own division. And then you play the Cubs, who were one game worse in the wild card. We're the three best teams in baseball, while the Mets, who were 10 games below all three of us, got to play the Dodgers for a spot in the NLCS and the other NLDS game. And the Mets end up going to the World Series, and thank goodness they lost. That's just a personal issue with the Mets.
I'm letting you cook.
Also, them and the Phillies are just so unlikable. Those two teams. I hate most of the players on the team. I do like Lindor, though. Lindor guy. The Phillies are bad, though. Oh, man, I can't stand the Phillies. I don't mind Zach Wheeler.
Tell us your thoughts on the Yankees.
You know what's weird about the Yankees? I like the Yankee players. I like Aaron Judge.
Oh.
Is
it the fact that he's on Paw Patrol?
I've always, obviously I got a little soft spot towards Garrett Cole. And it's just the Yankee fans and the media. That's where the hatred comes to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly the fans. But I know where they come from. I know most of them are, about 70% of them are Knicks fans.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but the Astros are threatening but have 2 outs.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. But, I just watched the Brewers Yankees lose. And they usually do before the World Series. Brewers are usually pretty quick.
So your ideal World Series as it stands right now for this year is something like Kansas City.
Well, the team I'm pulling for is Detroit.
So Detroit / Kansas City versus San Diego?
Also, nice to see Baltimore's hitting showing up in the playoffs again.
I love how you're just skipping over.
Well, if you're bringing up, can't stand the National League bracket, so I don't care. I was really bummed for Arizona on Monday. That was
It's on them.
terrible.
The owner thinks it's on them. So
Yeah, I mean, they should have won more. Could have won more games.
it's good to see that Bob Kendrick went.
Also, we didn't make our NHL Stanley Cup picks. That was when we both picked the Devils.
You did. I didn't.
NHL picks, I'll make.
Give me your Rangers.
Well, obviously, I'm going to take Rangers.
I'm gonna go with the Rangers too.
I'm going to go Rangers over Nashville.
Wow. I'm gonna go Rangers over Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah.
But for MLB picks here, since we're still in the early parts of the playoffs,
clearly.
I'm going to. I think.
Can I give you mine?
Yeah.
I think we had Subway Series.
I'm just going to pretend you didn't say that.
Subway Series, Subway Series, Subway Series.
I'm going to take Houston.
Good.
I think Houston still wins the series. I'm going to take Houston. Phillies over Houston.
All right.
As much as I would like to think the Padres can get there, but it's the Padres. We all know they lose.
Brutal.
Phillies over Houston.
All right. All right.
It ain't damn sure ain't going to beat the Dodgers. The Dodgers still haven't won a real World Series since 1988, and it's going to stay that way.
Oh my gosh. Okay. On that note, we'll get out of here.
But also, one more note. Good to see Shohei Ohtani finally made the playoffs. Good for him.
It's fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the mic on you, Nick. Who you shouting out?
Fantasy hockey draft tonight.
That's true.
Also a moment for our league, 8th year now. Shout out defending champ. He's been shot up plenty of times. Justin Kiefer.
Yeah.
I think he can run it back. The other leagues he's not so great in.
We'll see.
But the hockey league, this man
He shouldn't even be good in hockey. The guy, he drafts Ovechkin.
He does draft very old school.
It's so stupid.
But he wins. He's very competitive. Does a good job. You know he's going to draft Ovechkin in the first round again tonight.
Oh, yeah.
At least second
Well,
round.
it depends. Depends where he is.
Yeah, it depends where he is. He's not going to let him slip by him.
No.
When he could just get him rounds later. But, yeah, shout out Justin.
Gee, this at bat's been going on for like 3 minutes now.
Shout out Justin. Have a good draft tonight.
You too, Nick.
Yeah, we'll see. This is the one I not most prepared for.
Hockey's simple. You just take the best available for the most
I had a
part.
good team last year, though. We had a good run.
Matt Molson All-Stars. Look forward to drafting tonight.
Keeping the team name.
Oh, yeah.
You'll switch it.
All right. Let's get out of here. So we'll talk to everybody again next week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.